What's good, everybody? Welcome into the ugliest day of betting on NFL football ever in the fourth quarter. It is the Early Edge. We are powered, as always, by the almighty SportsLine. We say all the time the NFL is the hardest thing to pick, and today, my goodness, do we have storylines to talk about as we count down to Sunday Night Football? It's going to be Aaron Rodgers and Sean Mannion going head-to-head, Vikings and the Packers, live from Lambeau Field. Now, I said moments ago, because I have Detroit plus 23.5 on the live bet, said I could see a pick six coming. What just happened? You can't make this up. Interception for Seattle, under 5 to play. They're probably going to cover that. But let's bring in the stars of the show, because we got a lot to talk about, because there were a lot of crazy finishes today. Let's start dial-up live from Nashville, Tennessee. Good evening, sir.
Hey, good evening. Yeah, good night so far. Good day so far. All right, we got some good bets going tonight. Let's hit them.
Oh my goodness, it gets very hard to be upbeat hosting this show right now because Alex, you and I, not a good day today. Some really bad beats.
Yeah, not my best day, Coach, but unfortunately, this is kind of part of how it goes, and you just gotta suck it up sometimes, put it in the rearview mirror, and look forward.
That's exactly right. See ya. Good evening, sir.
I mean, when you go 12-0 the previous week, Alex, I think, there's some forgiveness there the following week if it's not a stellar day. So, yeah, I'm looking forward tonight. It's so funny, Coach, because it's like a new quarterback. It's like a third string quarterback every time we do a primetime game. It's interesting. I
wonder what that is. What is it about these primetime games that we are talking about? And another first down, Dallas's defense, they're terrible. They're terrible. We are sweating the end of that game, not because of the spread or anything, but because of playoff appearances. So it's 25-22. Dallas was down big. They cut it to 3, but now the Cardinals have 4 first downs on this last drive. We'll keep you up to date on that. So we get into sides totals. For those of you who are brand new to the show, welcome in. This is Early Edge Live. We do it before every single primetime game. We will get to the sides, the totals for tonight, and the props, if there are any that we can play. But before we look forward, we must look back at our day in the betting market and also things that will affect the betting market. AB, I've never seen what happened today in the Meadowlands with another AB in my life. That was the words of Bruce Arians as Antonio Brown walked off the field, took his jersey off, threw it into the stands, refused to go into the game, got thrown off the team. They were down 24-10. They still came back and won the game. And as we look at it, he cost himself legitimately $1 million by being thrown off the team today. Have you ever seen anything like that? And it hurts the Bucs because he's a big-time player for them.
Yeah, it does. And let me say, if AB took his shirt off, you know what? I'm out of here, too. I'm leaving now.
No. I can't unsee that. I can't unsee that.
Look, I'll say this. First off, it was just an ignorant decision to do that. Second, what do you do? Just what are you doing? There's no words for this. Third, how do you quit a game? And it's a road game. You don't even have your car there at the park. Like, this is just so dumb. And the worst part about it is that he walks out on a team. You notice none of the coaches went after him either. They're just done with him, right? And then when the team comes back and wins the game after you do that, it makes you look even dumber. And I like that Bruce Arians cut him right there and said, find your own way home. Whatever. You wanted to quit? See ya. Gone. Bye.
If there's one coach, Alex, that you should not do this with, it's Bruce Arians. And after the game, he's like, I'm not talking about him. I'm only talking about players that went out there and battled. And who cares if they only beat the Jets by 4? They came back to get it done in a game they had to win, and that's all that matters. But now, from a props perspective, this is a guy that we have cashed on all year, and now the Bucs have one less weapon to use. This is a big-time problem.
Yeah, it absolutely is. It makes things very difficult for Tom Brady, in my opinion. This was a tough game for the Bucs. Yes, they come back and won, but that was against the lowly Jets, and they had a hard time in the game doing so. So, yeah, it is absolutely huge. It makes things very difficult. Mike Evans being really the only receiver outside of Gronk that Brady has a lot of comfort with, and we've seen Gronk when he doesn't have sort of these outside weapons taking pressure off him. It makes things very difficult. So, yeah, Mike Evans' health is of the utmost importance, and I think this is a big, big blow to the Bucs' chances. And, yeah, I'm assuming they're going to rally around each other, but, yeah, you can't. AB was a exceptional talent on the field.
See, I know that fantasy comes to an end this week, so it's not really going to affect that market at all. But I'll give credit to Tom Brady, Le'Veon Bell after the game. There's clearly something going on with AB that we don't know about, because Tom Brady was like, listen, you got to have sympathy. You got to have empathy. There's a lot of things you guys don't know about. So if Tom Brady says that, I'm going to believe him and not go so hard in on Antonio Brown for doing it. But sometimes when you got things that are difficult in your personal life, you got to set them aside, because $1 million can do a lot for troubles, and especially we know the troubles that he's had in the past.
Yeah, and I think the trigger is very short for Antonio Brown. I think that's really the bottom line. I know there has been some reporting on his upbringing and just some of the troubles that he had, as a teen growing up. So I understand. I don't understand the intimate details of maybe some of his background issues, but they're definitely there. And I think that's definitely what Tom Brady's referring to. Honestly, I at this point, now that we're like 2 hours removed from it, this to me is more of a Buccaneers story than it is an Antonio Brown story, because it's kind of like, remember Brady at New England when he was just begging for receivers and he had Gronk, but he didn't really have any receivers? Well, that's what he has now. I mean, it's just a rerun at this point, because welcome to Brashad Perriman, Cyril Grayson, and Tyler Johnson season. I mean, that's what he's looking at right now, depending on the health of Mike Evans, as the postseason starts. So it's going to be a very interesting navigation period for the Buccaneers.
I think you bring up a great point, because you just look how the game went today. They struggled to win against the Jets, who have been arguably, with the Jacksonville Jaguars, the worst teams in all of football, and you barely beat them today. I think there's a lot of concern here, but of course the big headlines for tonight is going to be Antonio Brown. Other games today that definitely affected what we are doing and what will affect the playoffs as well. The Ravens, they cover at home, guys. A lot of people thought slam dunk Rams wide receivers. However, AB, we talked about this morning, OBJ, and he ended up scoring the winning touchdown against the Ravens 20-19.
Yeah, he did. And that was a great win for the Rams. Good come from behind win. They really haven't done a whole lot of that. One thing that we might want to talk about going into the playoffs, Matthew Stafford has thrown some just questionable interceptions week after week after week. And I know, he had a pick six today. I think it's his fourth on the year. But these interceptions have been a problem for him all season long. It's just crazy. But yeah, Ravens cover, Rams win, good win for them. But yeah, that's Stafford. That's an issue moving forward here.
Yeah, no doubt about it. By the way, the Cardinals, it looked like they fumbled, but apparently the fumbler was out of bounds when he did it, so they keep it, and they're kneeling out. They're going to beat the Cowboys 25-22, and that is a very big win for them. They'll improve to 11-5, and Dallas will fall to 11-5, and they look like a disaster most of this game. See, let me come to you. Let's talk about this game right now, because it's over. The Cowboys not winning at home and looking the way they did today, that's now several weeks sandwiched around the Washington game that they didn't look good at all.
I love the recency bias, especially with the Dallas Cowboys. You see them play really well against a bad Washington football team that had a horrible secondary as it was, and then had some COVID issues as well. It was so easy for Dak to all of a sudden unleash his arm and just pepper all the receivers and tight ends and running backs. It's a different ballgame when you're going up against a real secondary and just a real team. So yeah, I honestly, in the NFC, I think the Cowboys are middle of the pack. What I mean is, of the playoff teams, I think they're middle of the pack. I don't know that there's a team that really stands out in the NFC. So I think Dallas has a great shot to win the Super Bowl, at least get there, because of their defensive line and the weapons they have on offense. But yeah, we got to be really careful when we see something on national TV against a bad team. That doesn't really tell us much of the story.
Yeah, I mean, it was almost as if somebody would watch that game and then challenge one of the smartest handicappers in the world to a showdown bet the week after and lay 6.5 at home. I don't know who would be stupid enough to do that. However, Alex, it was me. When I come to you, Kyler Murray, we wondered if he was healthy. Well, 26, 38, 263, 2 scores, 0 interceptions. He also runs for 44 yards, cashes that prop for us, and his longest run was 15, so that cashes the longest run 14.5. So we at least have 2 good news from the Arizona side, but the Dallas side, not good, Alex. Prescott, 226. He did have 3 touchdowns, but not good. What do you make of this game and the individual performances?
Yeah, I think Dallas could be in serious trouble if Michael Gallup's knee injury proves to be serious. If that's a season-ending injury from him, he's caught a first-quarter touchdown, then had trouble making it into the medical tent, and was quickly ruled out after that. Yeah, if he is out for the season, I feel like that impact will really, really have a negative effect on Dallas. It forces CeeDee Lamb to become an outside receiver. I've talked so much about how dangerous this guy is and how big of a mismatch he is for opposing slot corners. So, yeah, I think his impact would be significant. We also saw sort of Dallas turn around when Michael Gallup came back to the lineup X amount of weeks ago. So, yeah, I feel like that impact would be massive on Dallas on the offensive side of things. But I was a little bit disappointed by Dallas' secondary. Coming into this, they ranked pretty much first in almost every single metric there was as far as pass coverage concerned. I announced that they were the best secondary in the NFL. All the metrics suggested that, did not look like it today. I do expect them to bounce back. That still, to me, is the strength of their team.
When they needed to stop, when they got it to 3 points with over 5 minutes to play, Cardinals weren't throwing the football. They were running for first downs. That's a big-time issue. AB, let me come back to you, because a team that's really starting to gain momentum, and the numbers are not crazy, but they're getting W's. And I'm talking about Philadelphia. They go on the road today, 20-16. We did cash Taylor Heineke over a half an interception, but Heineke played pretty well other than that, but the Eagles came back from being down early, and now they're 9-7, and they look like they could be a playoff team.
Yeah, they do. And, here's the thing with this team. They've done it week after week in the sense that they get better throughout the game. It's crazy. Like, you can almost formulaically play their team total unders in the first half, game unders in the first half, and the second half comes, and Jalen Hurts and this team just take off. They start putting the ball in the air, and they really get, kind of multiple in terms of their offense. It's wild when you go back and look that week after week. It's, it's like the same game, no matter who they're playing against. So pay attention to that when betting Philadelphia, but you're exactly right. Another good win for them. They eliminate Washington there. And you said, 9-7? Like,
yep.
That's a solid, 9 wins for this team with one more game to go. Man, Sirianni's done a heck of a job from how we saw, this season begin.
Yeah, he really has. Jalen Hurts, 17-26, 214. Also ran for 44 yards today, so he's starting to play some pretty good quarterback. Let me come to you. The Bengals down big early, and my Chiefs manage all of this many points in the second half. The lock of the year was the over. I gave it out today. I'm still perfect on the year. Thank you. But when you look at how the Chiefs lost, and they had a stranglehold on our futures ticket, which we did not cash now, but also on the number 1 seed. And today, they didn't look like the number 1 seed in the second half, but give credit to the Bengals. Joe Burrow, second straight week, huge. Over 400 yards this week, 4 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. Burrow is starting to look like a superstar.
Yeah, and I think you could have gotten the Bengals. I don't know if this was mentioned on the early edge. I happened to look at it before the games last week, and I think they were still like plus 150 or something to win their division. So, I didn't actually bet it at the time because I knew they were facing the Chiefs today, and so it was a little questionable. But yeah, this is a good team. It's a pretty good defense. You got a great quarterback who I thought was going to have an adjustment period after his knee injury. Clearly, I was wrong about that. Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, Tyler Boyd. I mean, this is a good team. As far as the Chiefs are concerned, listen, they're just not going to be able to hit the big play. It's going to be few and far between. The seasons of, last year and the year before, they're not allowing that. It's like cover 2. Everything is being kept underneath, and it's just going to require Mahomes to have a lot of patience in getting the ball down the field. And so far, that hasn't really worked out as well as people would have thought.
You guys want to talk about a sweat real quick? So I told you I had the Lions plus 23.5, right? Mm-hmm. And I said, here comes a pick 6. They did throw an interception, held them to a field goal. They threw another interception, and the Seahawks just ran it down to the 1. No timeouts left. We'll see if they're going to score here. It's 1st and goal, a minute to go. Are they going to kneel on it?
Kneel.
From the 1?
Oh, man. They're going to kneel.
They are!
Yeah.
They are! They're kneeling at the 1 to lose by 22. That's sports betting at its finest. Plus 23.5. Solid live betting. All the rest of them sucked. All right. Alex, let me come to you. That's just fun right there. Thank you, Pete Carroll, for not being a jerk. All right. The Raiders Are we sleeping on the Raiders? Every time, Alex, we count them out, they win again. 3 in a row since being blown out by the Chiefs. But the Colts, they are the bigger disappointment here. We thought they were starting to get mojo going. And then at home, they lose by 3. We had them in all kinds of teasers. They blew those out of the water. But what do you make of this Raiders team that now looks on the brink of also making it into the playoffs?
Yeah, the Raiders they've got moxie, and it makes sense when you have Carr at quarterback. To me, he's a fighter. The team kind of rallies behind his spirit. Despite, the loss of Darren Waller, they've still managed to be really good. I was really impressed. Zay Jones with an 8-catch, 120-yard performance kind of out of nowhere. Hunter Renfrow, you know what you're going to get from him. He is super reliable, consistent, solid. The Raiders are good. I was impressed with this victory. To me, though, I felt it was more a case of the Colts sort of taking a nap. They came out flat, never really got anything going. I think Wentz being away and then being activated last minute may have had a negative effect for the Colts. But I've been impressed with the Raiders' never say die attitude. If they get into the playoffs, I doubt anybody wants to play a team like that has nothing to lose.
Last comment, AB, let's go to you.
Yeah, I got to say, today, if you're a Titans fan, you live in Tennessee, Nashville, what a day you had. You win the division by beating the Dolphins. The Chiefs lose to the Bengals, so you're now the number 1 seed in the AFC, and all you got to do is beat the Houston Texans in Week 18 to get a first-round bye, and the Colts lose. Like, it is a solid day for everybody in Nashville.
Hold the phone. Are you telling me that a team that just gave up 51 to Seattle can't beat the Tennessee Titans next week? And it wasn't even the Texans. I'm talking the Texans played against, golly, this is how frazzled I am right now. Who did the Texans play today they didn't cover late? Oh, 49ers. Yeah. I'm not even going to talk about that game. Getting 14.5 and you lose by 60. Oh, wait, stop. All right, a couple other things. Bears look great. The Giants, I had to hit on this, and then we're going to get into tonight's game, I promise you, in 1 minute. But have you ever seen an inept offense like the Giants today? Their leading receiver had 2 with 12 yards. Mike Glennon was 4 for 11 for 24 yards. How do you lose by 26 points, Sia, and you only throw it 11 times in the football game? How is that possible?
Dave Gettleman, Joe Judge. That's my answer.
That's great analysis, too. We'll leave it right there. We'll leave it right there. That's terrible. That's embarrassing. The Bills do cover, or if you didn't buy the half point like you should have at 14, then you pushed 29-15. Falcons continue to be putrid. All right, let's turn our attentions to tonight, though, because we've got that dynamic quarterback matchup. Sean Mannion from where? Oregon State taking on Aaron Rodgers from Cal, a Pac-12 showdown. And that's about all that these two quarterbacks have in common. For some reason, though, boys, and AB, let me come to you to start this, the number has dropped to 12. Why do you think that is, that people are betting on the Vikings without Kirk Cousins and in Green Bay?
The weather's cold. I don't know how much Green Bay is going to care. Green Bay has taken their foot off the gas pedal in the second half of games. Aaron Rodgers has a toe injury. Who even knows, how he'll play, obviously, throughout the game. But if they're up big, I could see them pulling him out of it, even if they don't. Hand the ball off. Yeah, I could see better, dropping it from 12.5 to 12. It makes sense. This could be a pretty boring game tonight, to be completely honest with you.
I hope it's a boring 23-0 game is what I hope. At Caesars, it's officially at 12.5 right now. Jeweler, what is the total number that we are rolling with currently? I doubt we're going to touch that unless it's the under.
42. Sitting at 42 on Caesars right now.
All right, the voice of God. See ya. Do we like anything on the total?
I kind of like the over, actually. As cold as it is, and obviously it's going to be hard to hold on to the ball, to catch the ball, but the wind is calm. There's no precipitation, and you can run on both of these teams. So it's not one of those games where I just don't think it's not one of those games where the weather's going to be so bad where the teams just can't move the ball. I don't think that's what we're going to see. I'm not expecting a lot of points. I'm not expecting a shootout, but I also think 42 is kind of low, knowing how bad these teams are against the run, just from a yards per carry standpoint. And we saw what Nick Chubb, and by the way, just to go to your initial question, we saw what the Browns did against the Packers last week, and the Browns didn't have a host of weapons. The Browns had an average quarterback in Baker Mayfield. The Browns had a running back and a good running game, and they averaged almost 9 yards per carry against the Packers. So my thought here is, unless Sean Mannion has a really bad game and has a couple turnovers, the Vikings are just going to run the ball and see what happens.
Okay, so if that's being said, when you were in the lab today, and right now I'm seeing a whole bunch, Alex, of Green Bay props, but not a bunch of the Vikings as expected. What did the lab tell you today?
Yeah, not a lot of data on Sean Mannion. The times that he has played, it has been pretty ugly. I do not think that he is a good or viable backup quarterback in the NFL. That being said, I agree with Sia. I do think the game plan for Minnesota will be just a heavy dose of Dalvin Cook. I do think we'll see Alexander Madison mix in quite a bit as well. I totally agree. We saw the blueprint from Cleveland, who kept that game very competitive, just heavy dose of Nick Chubb. I think we'll see the same thing with Dalvin Cook. And then as far as Green Bay is concerned, I also agree with AB. They're going to want to get in, get out, keep Rodgers as healthy as possible. Plus, Green Bay, even though, they've had a phenomenal season, they're not blowing anybody out. All these games are usually fairly close. So I do expect them to, take the foot off the gas in the second half, bleed the clock. No team is better than that. No team plays slower than Green Bay. Rely on both these great running backs that they have. I expect a heavy dose of running from both teams. Lots of A.J. Dillon, lots of Aaron Jones from Green Bay.
I agree with you. AB, let me come back to you because you're our guy when it comes to quarterbacks, interceptions, and team totals. So I think a team total that could be very, very attractive could be the team total for Minnesota. It's 14. Packers defense is not great. Is this too low, or would you play the under here?
Oh, no, it's at 14. If I don't have to eat the hook at 14.5, absolutely I'd play this because, look, field goals are going to be out of the picture, especially if the game script goes, how we think it will in Green Bay.
No, it's 14.5 now. Now it just went back to 14.5.
I was going to say, yeah, somebody was smart. They grabbed it at 14. Look, I still don't hate it. Like, Sean Mannion has played in the NFL. It's not like, he's Ian Book out here, which I like Ian Book. That was the worst matchup possible in humanity for him to go up against Miami, but enough about that. Sean Mannion is an all right quarterback. All right. 14.5, that's not bad at all, to be completely honest with you, especially if they have a second half of garbage yards and garbage points like we think the game script could define. Absolutely. And speaking of Sean Mannion, I've done a little homework on our man SM, all right? And I'll tell you what he likes to do. Yeah, and I'll hold on my official play until we're ready to do it, but I'll tell you this. My man does love running backs.
I'm ready to do it.
The running backs.
I'm ready to do it. Let's do it right now.
Give me Dalvin Cook over 15.5 receiving yards tonight. He loves throwing to running backs, especially if you haven't made a start since 2019. He's going to lend heavy to players that he knows, players that he trusts, and short yardage passing. Give me Dalvin Cook over 15.5 receiving yards tonight.
Oh, I got to get that in real quick. Come on before it changes. All right, got it. Also, another one. See, let me come to you because the team total's nice. Dalvin Cook's nice. Is there any play? I know you don't have an official play. Is there something, though, that you're leaning into? The Green Bay number is right on 28 for their team total. I would like it if it was 27.5, but I don't like it at 28.
Yeah, well, by the way, I do have an official play, but I got it in super late, like right when the show started. So do you want me to tell you that?
Yeah, let's do it. Yeah.
It's, I probably sort of gave it away earlier, but I like the Vikings plus 12.5 here. And that's definitely my official play. To answer your question, it's going to be a showdown, isn't it? Is it going to be a showdown? Are we doing?
Well, I'm on tilt right now, so continue and I'll think about it.
Well, okay, so let me go back to the Packers number. I think the Packers number is pretty good. I'm not 100% sure I would take the over there or the under. I don't think this is going to be a super high scoring affair. I could see it being a little bit closer than people think. So a 27 to 21 game, I think, is perfectly in play. And so I'm not so sure I'd take the over or the under there on the Packers.
Alex, help me. What do you got?
I'm going to endorse AB here. I really like that Dalvin Cook receiving prop over 15.5 yards. I'm going to make that an official play from me as well. I I was not anticipating that number being that low. I thought it would be well over 20, between 20 and 24. Getting it under 20, I do think is a tremendous value, especially with Mannion at quarterback. I think AB laid it out perfectly. Dalvin Cook has a lot of receiving chops. I do think he's going to be looking to check down quite a bit, relying on both the backs. So, yeah, I'll take Dalvin Cook over 15.5 receiving yards as an official play as well.
I thought you had been on the brand long enough to realize you don't endorse AB unless you absolutely have to. So apparently you felt like you had to. All right, let's get to some chat questions. If you have a prop that you would like us to talk about or hit on, just put it in the chat. We'll try to get to as many as we can. Aaron Jones, over 73.5 combo yards, minus 113. Alex is raising his hand. Take it.
Yeah, I like this quite a bit. This is the other play that I was strongly considering in the game. We saw sort of the shift, and we were riding it throughout the majority of the season to A.J. Dillon, where he was getting more and more work, and he overtook Aaron Jones as far as backfield work was concerned, and was getting more carries on a weekly basis than Aaron Jones. Aaron Jones suffered a knee injury that caused him to miss one game. Then he was playing through the injury, it seemed. We've seen now, after the bye week, Aaron Jones looks very healthy. He looks like the Aaron Jones of old. Again, in my opinion, the last 2 weeks, he has out-touched A.J. Dillon in both those games. He looked very spry, very explosive in doing so. He's a lot more involved in the receiving game as well. So, yeah, I do like Aaron Jones props tonight. I like his rushing line over 55.5 yards. I also like the combination prop as well. Those, besides the Dalvin Cook, are my favorite props in the game.
All right, very good. By the way, pound that like button. We have well over 800 people watching right now, a really big audience. I need to get to 400 likes, and we will give out the donkey parlay of the night, courtesy M Squared. Even though he isn't on the show, he did send it in. But you've got to earn it. 400 likes. Pound it for me right now so we can give that out in just a couple of minutes. Now, let me come back to you, AB. Kind of a cool little bet from the chat. Devontae Adams, Dalvin Cook, both score. Plus 400.
Oh God, that's nice. Yeah, like I would sprinkle on that for sure. That's really nice. Because I'll tell you this: anybody that's looking at Aaron Rodgers props, his last 2 games, he's throwing for like 268 and 205. Like the numbers haven't been high, but his last 3 games, 10 touchdowns. Like my man has been chucking touchdowns out there. So if you're gonna get Devontae and Dalvin here, ooh, absolutely.
That's what I'm talking about. MVS. I think we're going to hear his name in just a little bit, but see, let me come to you. His reception prop is over 3.5, and it is plus money.
Yeah, I actually kind of like that. I mean, again, you got the cold weather game narrative going against him, but first of all, the secondary for the Vikings is kind of banged up, so I think the matchup's going to be good for MVS. And over the last 4 games, he's averaging over 7 targets per game, actually closer to 8 than 7. So even if you account for the weather and you take that down a little bit, I think it's going to be a plus matchup for him. So I'm looking at 4 to 5 catches for MVS.
All right, so let me come to you, Alex, with the receiving yardage prop for MVS, somewhere around 37.5. And I have the juice.
Yeah, I can get behind it for sure. A lot of the reason that Sia laid out, he has ascended to the second option in the passing game. The targets are absolutely there. They've been consistently. That's something that's kind of eluded him throughout his career. He's had a much higher floor this season, played a lot more consistently as well, especially if you're looking at the box score. So, yeah, I like MVS. I do think he's going to be involved. And, yeah, outside of Adams, he seems to be Rodgers' most trusted receiver.
Okay. Latif in the chat says, hey, guys, you think Green Bay will win by 14? Should I take my money now? Apparently you have a buyout. 14's high. Right now the number is at 12. I think they will cover up to 14. Sia clearly does not, so take it for what it's worth. But, Latif, if you have a chance to take your money and it's a double-digit primetime game, you may want to take that money and just run and not even have to sweat it. That's probably what I would do, especially after the day that I've had. Dalvin Cook, is that right? His reception prop is only 2.5? Is that correct? Plus 110? Go ahead, Alex.
Yeah, it is. His receiving yards are 15.5, so that would totally make sense that his reception line is only 2.5. So, yeah, very enticing numbers. I thought AB laid it out really well. We don't have a lot of data on Sean Mannion, but it's when you see quarterbacks who are inexperienced, they're going to check the football down. They're going to look at, what's easy, what the defense is giving him. That is often going to be passes to the flats, passes that are, short yardage completions to your running backs, to your tight ends. Dalvin Cook has a lot of receiving chops. He's going to be on the field quite a bit. Wouldn't surprise me to see a couple screens drawn up for him as well, just to get Mannion into a rhythm, get him some completions. So yeah, I think the 15 yards, though, in my opinion, is more enticing or the better value compared to the 2.5 receptions.
Okay, very good. AB, let me come to you. We've talked a lot about Dalvin Cook. We have not talked about his rushing prop. Fascinating to me because we think Green Bay is going to stack the box. It's 80.5 minus 118. Talk to me.
Yeah, Green Bay's defense will give up rushing yards, and Minnesota will run the football even if they are down. So you've got all of that playing in your factor. Minnesota's also, this is a game that they are going to try to win because the playoffs are still there, right? Mm-hmm. So it's not like, oh, hey, we're losing, just bench everybody. No, man, like they're going to be fighting in this game. So normally for almost any other running back, I would say, heck no. For Dalvin, yeah, absolutely, man, because he could chunk you one in the first quarter for 45, and then you're sitting really pretty. So, yeah, I can't hate on that at all.
Okay. Which one of you talked about Aaron Jones? Was it all right, so the A.J. Dillon is the other side of that coin, am I right? So, Alex, and so that number is 52.5, just the rushing number.
Yeah, so I'm probably one of the most bullish people on A.J. Dillon. If you've been following me all season, we have been riding his props continually week after week after week. I'm still very bullish. I love A.J. Dillon. However, there has been a shift in recent weeks. I was discussing it earlier with Aaron Jones. He was bothered by a knee injury, caused him to miss one game. The Packers even expected him to potentially miss up to 3 or 4. He ended up coming back early, clearly was playing through pain at the time, and we did kind of see a shift in the backfield where the Packers were relying more and more on A.J. Dillon. He was getting more work than Aaron Jones. Also was the more effective running back as well. But over the last couple of weeks, we've seen Aaron Jones reassert himself as that alpha running back or as the dominant talent that we all expected him to be coming into the season. He has played really well. He's also touched A.J. Dillon significantly over the last 2 weeks as well, been more involved as a pass catcher. So I do like A.J. Dillon a lot, but I do think tonight is going to be heavier dose of Aaron Jones. A.J. Dillon certainly capable of going over 52.5 yards. I just expect that it's no longer a 1A, 1B. It's a slightly I do anticipate Jones just probably getting somewhere between 3 to 4 more carries than A.J. Dillon, more work in the passing game as well. So I'm actually staying away from A.J. Dillon tonight.
All right, very good. Well, we got to all of the questions in the chat. Let's just be honest with you. Tonight, it's a lot about Packers props or nothing because there's not a lot of Vikings ones. And to be honest with you, we would just recommend probably staying away because we just have no idea what's going to happen on that side of the football. All right, we've reached the time of the show. We're going to do the VJM and still give you guys long enough. Where are we at on the likes? How many likes do we have currently?
We are sitting at right at 350, so just need 50 more.
350.
900
all right,
watching.
All right.
We should be getting it soon.
All right, we have 900 watching. Could you please take 3 seconds? Take the chat down, hit that like button, put the chat right back up, and you're good to go. Let's get to 400 so we can give out that donkey in a matter of moments. But this is a very important time of the show. We have 2 weeks left, but we're still going to do this in the playoffs, damn it, if we're not all in the club. I can tell you that. So this is the VJM. We pick the first touchdown scored of the game. It's just fun. We like to have a good time here in addition to trying to make serious picks. It's got to be plus 1,000 or better. Whatever you like, go ahead and throw it in the chat for us. Let us know who you would bet on for the first touchdown of the game tonight. All 3 men that I'm staring at right now are in the club. Me and the jeweler, we are not in the club. So I've got business to handle tonight. But AB, you go first. What do you got?
Yeah, we're going to go back to the stat we gave out just a minute ago in regards to Aaron Rodgers' last 3 games. He's thrown 10 touchdown passes. I think he continues it tonight, and I think he starts early. I'm going to go Allen Lazard plus 1,000. I think he's a solid, safe option in the red zone. He's a safe option if it's a deep play, and they're going to be paying attention to Devontae big time and MVS. Let me get Allen Lazard.
I hate the fact that you got that in before me because I love that pick tonight. Alex, now you're a very interesting subject because you're technically in the club, but we both know you're a prideful man and you want to get in on your own accord. So what's it going to be for you tonight?
Nothing would make me happier than that, Coach. About the only thing that would cure my poor day as well would be getting into the VJM, getting into the club. I was just absolutely astounded, shocked when I saw on a specific book, MGM, that Dalvin Cook was plus 1,000. I could not pass up that value. If they are within striking distance, this guy is going to get the football. Could not believe my eyes when I saw it. It's real. It's there. You can go see for yourself. I'm going Dalvin Cook, the chalkiest of the chalk. Hopefully it happens on a little 17-yard reception. So AB and I both cash that prop simultaneously, and then all is restored in the universe.
Well, you are the GOAT. If anybody can make that happen and catch two things in one, it would be you. All right. See ya. You are the only two-time entrant into the club. Is tonight your third?
I don't know. I'm going to have a little fun with this one. The odds are pretty long here, but we do know that if Minnesota is going to contend in this game, they're going to have to run the ball. They have two running backs that get touches. Now, don't get me wrong. Dalvin Cook is definitely the guy that's going to get the lion's share. When he's playing, he really gets a lot of the touches. But in a game like this, where they're running it so much and the scoring might not happen right away, I think you could see a scenario where somebody has to spell Dalvin Cook for either a series or just a down or two. And that guy is Alexander Mattison at plus 3,500.
I love that number. I love that number a lot.
It's fun.
All right. So here's what I'm going to do. I decided that if I'm going to do something big, if I need somebody, then am I going to rely on some third or fourth wide receiver to maybe come into the game and get lucky? No, I'm going to bet on the man who throws it to the third or fourth wide receiver that comes into the game. And I can just see it now. Minnesota's playing a deep zone, a little fake. They all take a step back. And there's my man, number 12, Aaron Rodgers, scoring the first touchdown of the game at plus 1,600, and then going up in the Lambeau leap as I just put my hands into the air and say, I'm in the club. I see it. It's a vision. It's going to happen. Jeweler, show your face.
What's
All right,
up?
big boy. What's up with you? What do you got tonight?
Well, I'm not in the club, so I don't have the luxury of taking the backup running back for a team that's a 12-point dog. So instead, we're going to go with MVS. Whenever I sent the rundown and the link for this show, I grabbed it immediately because he's around plus 1,200 on DraftKings. He scored in 3 of 9 games this season for him. So let's just roll the dice with MVS here. You talk about Aaron Rodgers dominating through the air. Let's do it.
Oh, and guess what, Jeweler? Kelsey's got your back in the chat too.
Kelsey and I are in agreement a lot of times on these VGM picks, and it hasn't worked out thus far. But I think it's going to work out tonight.
All right. Okay. So Dan just made that Madison pick with you. See, he got a plus 3,800, he says. Plus 3,800. Okay.
It's a long shot, but it
All right.
could happen.
How about the correct score, 24-10, playing plus 11,000? That might be worth $10. That feels good. That feels right. 24-10. That would make everybody happy.
Here's what we do, Coach. You just say right now, just repeat correct score. Sound really confident in it so we can clip it off later and look really smart.
Okay, everybody quiet for a second. See, I could see this game tonight being 24-10. And if that's the case, that's plus 11,000. I can feel it. 24-10. Yes, 24-10. Lock it in. All right, now, see how you do that? You see how you do that on TV? Isn't that awesome? Right? So now we just pull it right out. And nobody ever knows except for the people watching live. All right, so are we at 400 likes? Did we get to 400?
We're almost to 500. And if we get to 500, I'll drop a free year to SportsLine in the chat.
All right, for those of you who are not a SportsLine member, there is no better value in all of sports betting, and it's not close. It's first come, first serve. The code that's in there, whoever uses it first, if we get to 500 likes, you will get a free year-long membership to SportsLine and become a part of the family. All right, so here is the donkey. And Jeweler, you want to go ahead and read it for us? Well, actually, I can actually read that, actually. My eyes are so bad. Actually, that's... All right, what do we got, big boy?
Let's see. Looks like Mike is taking the Packers minus 2.5 on the alternate spread. The Vikings plus 22.5 on the alternate spread. Aaron Rodgers passing yards under 329.5. The over 39.5 for Aaron Jones rushing yards. Over 34.5 AJ Dillon rush yards. Under 99.5 Dalvin Cook rush yards. And under 99.5 Justin Jefferson receiving yards.
Is there a more disappointed player tonight than Justin Jefferson? His number is usually between 90 and 100, all the way down to like 71 or 72. He may not even see the ball tonight. They could put 3 guys on him tonight. It's very, very possible. All right, we're not going to waste any time. We never force it. So we're going to recap our best bets, give you guys a chance to get those bets in and say bye-bye, lick our wounds, and hope that we can win something tonight after a very rough, unlucky day. But guess what? I'm seeing Twitter. Everybody had a rough day today. It's not just us. All right, so quickly, let's recap our best bets. AB, you go first.
Yep. Dalvin Cook, over 15.5 receiving yards. I hope that the Packers spend all their players guarding Justin Jefferson down the field, and Dalvin Cook standing there wide open, ready to take some to the house. Yep, over 15.5 receiving yards.
All right, Alex, you're also on the same bet tonight. Care to add anything?
Yeah, it just makes a lot of sense. Dalvin Cook is a very good receiving running back out of the backfield. Also makes sense to me that they will draw up some screens for him, potentially get a couple of short completions to Sean Mannion, get him into a rhythm. I do expect Dalvin Cook to be involved, check down too. So yeah, I like it quite a bit as well for all the reasons AB laid out and more.
Okay, and finally, tell the good people at home why you're going to be paying me money by the end of the night.
I love it. I love that we have a potential showdown here. Let me just mention that I also like the Aaron Jones rushing prop in particular of 54.5, 55.5, wherever you're at. That's a lean, not an official play for me. But yeah, listen, Vikings plus 12.5. I just think it's too many points. I think the Vikings will be able to establish the run. I think Sean Mannion, this is not an Ian Book situation. He has years of experience in the league. He's 6'6", 229. He gets rid of the ball very quickly. If they can operate like that and function like that, they're going to cover the 12.5 easily, in my opinion.
All right. Well, I feel like we need to end the show on a positive note, right? And there is nothing more positive than dancing. And so, Jeweler, if you wouldn't mind, could you hit the music, please? It's gonna be a showdown. Let's get it back. That's right, Sia. If you accept the challenge, 12.5's the number. Are you in or are you out?
Challenge accepted.
That's why you're a gamer, baby, and that's why you're so important to our team. All right, so that's going to do. We're going to end the show with a showdown bet. I'm on the Packers minus 12.5. My main man, Sia, is on the Vikings plus 12.5. Finally, Happy New Year. And I want you all to remember, this is a grind. We do this 7 days a week. There's going to be ups. There's going to be downs. Money management is everything. I have to tell myself that a lot of the time. All right? But we still have a great month of January, plenty of playoffs, and one more week of the NFL, which I think a lot of us wish the NFL would just go away right now. COVID. All right. There's only one thing. Oh, look. There is an actual code. Who's going to be the first one to grab that code and win that year-long membership? Maybe I should do it. I don't even have one. I'm kidding. All right. That's going to do it. I'm ready to watch some football and lick my wounds. So there's only one thing left to do, and you all know what that is. You've got your marching orders. Let's take all of these tickets, except the Vikings, straight to the pay window. For my entire crew, love them all. See ya. Prop stars, AB, and of course the jeweler who puts it all together here at the brand. I am the coach. Tell all your friends this is the place you want to come. Be educated, be entertained, and have a good time in the process. We like to call it the Early Edge. Good luck.